Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the United Stand. Welcome to an early episode on a Monday night. Mark is watching the Arsenal game, so do tune in after this show has finished to That's Football to watch Mark there, stress about how far Arsenal are pulling away from us. Well, you never know. Anything can happen in football, as we know. I didn't expect Brentford to smash Chelsea 4-1, but it happens. Kind of doesn't really happen for us, though, at the moment. That's the only downside of it. We've got a mix-up again tonight for you all. Holly, Kev, Beth, Holly, I'll go with you first. How's your Monday been? I tell you what, I think Mondays were better than weekends, wasn't it? Especially after United were back.
Yeah, not too bad. Still a bit of a hangover from the United-Leicester game, and also had to drown my sorrows Saturday night, so still a bit hungover from there as well. But glad to be on the show again.
That's it. You and Beth are going to get on like a house on fire. Beth, good weekend, was it? Sorry, not good weekend. Happy Monday. Got to have been better than the weekend, like I said, but how good your end?
Yeah, I actually didn't go out this week, so I'm being good. But United did drive me to drink this weekend, just in my house on my own. So it's not the best, is it? But happy Monday and getting on with the week, and United free for a few days. So it's what it is.
Leading me perfectly into a man who loves a drink in his own gaff. Kev, welcome to the show, mate. How's your Monday been, mate? Work okay and everything?
Yeah, it was good, mate. It was all right, thank you. I think the Monday show, we usually sit here and I always say how disappointed I am with Manchester United. Obviously, at the risk of sounding like a United player, I was going to say it wasn't the result we wanted. But you know, it gets to the point where you can see it coming and kind of expect it. And it's a sad state of affairs, man. It's almost like an acceptance that you know it's going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it. And I thought, you know what? This lot, the majority of them don't seem arse. So why should I let them ruin my weekend? And just went hell for leather after the match, yeah?
Yes. I like it. That's the way we do it down here. That's the way we do it. Getting into what is actually happening, it is sounding like, guys, Erik ten Hag is getting closer and closer and closer. I spoke with Mark earlier on. He has had it off a tier 1 in the know, whatever you want to call them, people who can tell us these things or give us a little insight into what is actually going on down at United. There's been a few other people reporting it. There's been a few rumours from other journalists and whatnot, but it is now looking like Ten Hag is getting closer and closer and closer. Not quite there yet, though. I think, Holly, it's just a case now, I think, of like Ajax pretty much sealing the deal, and an announcement date, if anything, is the next step for all of this.
I feel like this whole saga has aged me, honestly. By the time this deal is done, it'll be too good to believe. It's taken so long. And I know it's like, everyone's saying, oh, yeah, but they're doing their due diligence, whatever they call it.
It's always a crack at that one.
I know,
you get it right first time, like 65.
Everyone's kind of going down that alley and stuff, trying to look at it from a good way. But I just think they are dragging it out. Like, I even heard today, Mark was saying on the show this morning that they're doing more interviews with Poch and stuff. Like, why? We know who we want. You know who you have to go for now, because can you imagine if they went for Poch now? Can you imagine the reaction from the fans? I think it's gone far too far for that. I think they have no option of even doing that. So we want our man. You have to go for that man as a club. It's like the media are kind of swaying towards Ten Hag now as well. Just do it. Like, just get it done. I know with the Ajax situation and stuff, it's hard to kind of announce it when they're still chasing titles themselves, but at least let us know in the media. You don't have to announce it as Ajax or as Manchester United. Just let us know in the media so we know what we're looking forward to.
Yeah, that's it. You say that this whole saga has aged you. Well, my beard was the same colour as Kev's when I started the United Stand, but one season has absolutely finished me. He's got greys and everything coming out now. I've just had to accept it. But Beth, it's an ongoing conversation. We speak to people outside Old Trafford many a times, and not about the beard, by the way, about Ten Hag. But it's just the case now. It's like, I think everyone's accepted that it has to be Ten Hag as well now. It's not a case of like, who's it going to be now? It's like the acceptance from the fan base is it better be Ten Hag, and that's the voice, isn't it? That's what's coming out there, the noises.
It is, and do you know what? I was actually just looking at my fan vlog the other day, and I was like, I didn't realise he had that many wrinkles on my forehead. It actually it's aging all of us. So I was like,
That's because
that is
you walked out of Old Trafford having watched that lot.
Exactly, and that's what it is. And to be honest, I've been back and forth on Ten Hag or Pochettino. Obviously, I think we all know who we all want, but it's like, when you think about it, I was like, are we just holding it out because Pochettino is going to leave PSG, and that's why we've not announced it yet? That's why no journalist has kind of come out with a "here you go." You know what you mean? So you're like, are we waiting for Pochettino? But after what happened at the weekend, despite the result being horrible, he's put me in a place now where I would say I'm very confident it is going to be Erik Ten Hag. I just have a feeling that the things that were coming out on Twitter today from various sources, some were journalists, there's no tier one that's come out and said it, but a lot are edging more towards it now. You just think the writing's on the wall, really. The fans would go mental if it ended up being Pochettino. And like you said, outside Old Trafford, you have conversations with so many people. I've not had one person say that they want Pochettino yet. And I think that just shows it all, really. And the leaks that have been coming out that Ten Hag already has a plan to get certain transfers in place is really exciting. This guy clearly knows what he wants. He clearly knows he's going to go into Manchester United with the same style that he's been using, that's been successful. And I like that about him. He knows where he's going with it. He just wants to know Manchester United are happy with what he's going to bring. And hopefully they are going to. And hopefully we'll get an announcement soon. Whether that'll be announced by Manchester United, I don't think so. But I think we'll get unofficial announcements hopefully quite soon, and we can celebrate that on the United stand.
Yeah, I've got to bring Kevin quick, because when Kev's quiet, the comment section start winding him up and he gets all excited about certain things. So, Kev, I've got to get you in quickly on this one. I'm sure I've not had a chance to watch all the videos back. I'm sure you had your say about how United was at weekend and how we just need to look towards the future. Now, it's pretty much like everyone now looking ahead. Ten Hag has a plan, has a style, has a system. It's everything that Manchester United are craving right now. And the rumours being, like Beth just said then, it's looking like that closer it gets towards the end of April and Ajax clinching this title or securing it. I think even the people at Ajax are even talking about it more and more now. We talked about their director of football talking about him leaving a couple of weeks ago. Writing's on the wall, mate. Can we start getting excited and look ahead now? Looking at types of players that may fit the Ten Hag mould, and this is United's future. How do you feel about it? Do you feel like the fan base is going to give him that time? Do you feel like we are going to get this one right, mate? What's your gut feeling with it all now? I mean, we're clutching a little bit, I know, but do you feel confident that this is the one this time?
I feel confident Ten Hag is the one, but I know for a fact that the four of us that are all sat here, we all know deep down the way Manchester United is run. And there is a part of probably every one of us here, even everybody in the live comments, that is thinking only Man United can mess this up now. And probably even appoint Pochettino. The fact the rumours are still there, that's the worrying thing for me, is that Manchester United, the way that they are run, could actually appoint Pochettino. I've given you my views on Pochettino. I do not understand why Manchester United would be after him. Ten Hag is the man for me. And we're purely going off kind of speculation. We're digging in. We're trying to get somebody that's of some kind of stature to, the rumour mill is in full swing, as they say. I really, really hope it's true. I think Ten Hag will be a brilliant fit for Manchester United. And the fact that, what is it, 1.7 million they have to pay compensation. And I've seen a few articles, United might not want to pay that. 1.7 million. We spent 80 million on Harry Maguire, 27 million on Marouane Fellaini. What's 1.7 million as compensation for the next up-and-coming manager with fresh ideas? And the biggest thing that attracts me to him as well, develops players, but also makes players better as well. And we've been starved of that for the last 3 years. Could you, anyone honestly say that under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for 3 years, that any single one of them players improved? Did we look at anyone and go, wow, he's become the player he could have been? No, it's all the likes of Martial that we look at and the likes of Pogba, and we're looking and going, they've just not done it. And they've never kicked on and improved. There's other players in that squad as well, but it's an hour show, isn't it? So I wouldn't be able to go through them all, but hopefully you get my point.
Yeah, we do, mate. We do indeed. I mean, you look at it there. I mean, people have already touched on there. We are going to go on to the likes of the rumour mill of Fred and Luke Shaw getting contracts. This for me and the players getting contracts like Bruno, I would only think and I only pray that it's because the new manager has already sort of gone, yep, okay, thanks for letting me know. I'm happy with that. I'm happy to work with that player. I just want to leave that there because we can dig and put ourselves in an early grave if we start thinking the worst, which is possible with this club. But we'll leave that one there. But Beth, I'm going to come to you next on this one. You mentioned it earlier on in terms of Ten Hag and the appointment. We're now hearing rumours about players that he may want to bring in himself and sort of excitement that brings and gives a little bit more. Obviously, Julian Timber. I mean, if anything, this guy has got a song ready-made in the fan base for him already. Yeah, I'm thinking Pitbull, Kesha sort of remix coming here from United. The way they're doing the Alanga and bringing that in, this is an easy one. So the fans are going to be happy with that. It's a new song coming, but this guy hardly misses a game for Ten Hag. More importantly, young, not the tallest, obviously, but like we said then, Ten Hag coming in with his ideas and the way he wants, Beth. This is a guy who has pretty much played every single game this season at centre-back for him. Plenty of time on his hands, and he's the right sort of player to come in. That age where maybe even integrated with a few of the United young stars at the moment can all start to grow together and build together under Ten Hag. That's how I would look at it. And, well, that's how I would pray that it would actually happen. We don't know, but we can sort of look at that and go, that's a positive way of looking ahead.
Is that one on your playlist? Yeah, Adam, the Timber one came to your mind quite quick, didn't it?
Hey, you know, when you're in the gym, anything gets played out there, doesn't it? But I just know that one because it's easy to remember.
Honestly, like I said, we was talking about it like at the start of the show, when obviously the rumours came out about this guy. I've heard of him before, but I've not really looked closely at him, I'm going to be honest. But today, when I was looking at him, obviously because the rumours were out there, you can watch the compilation videos on YouTube, which makes anyone look good. I mean, you can watch them, but actually like digging into his stats as well and his age and the way he plays football and the way he does it under Ten Hag as well is exactly the type of centre-back Ten Hag likes. He's so good with the ball at his feet. Like watching him play, he's got so much technical ability, which I think is so needed on that back line. I mean, we talk about Harry Maguire being good with his feet. Personally, for me, I think it's a massively overrated feature that he has. He's all right with the ball at his feet, but he's not great. This guy, when I've watched him, he looks so good, and the physicality he has as well. The fact he's only 20 years old and he's playing at that level, and he's playing very well as well. I think he'd be a great addition to Manchester United. He's got the pace, he's got the physicality, he's good on the ball, you can play a high line with him, and he's someone that can grow into the team. At 20 years old, bringing in someone like that, 3 years' time, which is, for me, how long it's going to take, looking at the future and hopefully having a team that has been built to go and win things. He could be in that team and right at the front of it, 23 years old, still got so much time out of him. I think it'd be a great signing. I also think it just shows that this manager definitely has a route that he wants to go down, and the fact he's already thought about these signings and who he's going to get in. This is a signing that is doable for Manchester United. What's it going to be? Probably around 30 million for a good centre half that's 20 years old that can grow into this team and has all the attributes. I think it'd be stupid not to go with this, and that's another reason why I really do lean towards Ten Hag. The fact he's going to get players in that he's going to use, and to get players that already know his system as well to integrate into the team and know what they're doing in training. I think that'd be vital to help the other players catch on a little bit quicker as well to what's going on. So we know he's got the attitude. We know that Ten Hag likes him, and I think it'd be a good signing. It'd put cat amongst the pigeons when it comes to the centre halves as well. Like they'd have to be fighting for the spot, which I like.
That's it. That's the ultimate question, really, then, isn't it, Holly? Because these players may come in, and it's like everyone keeps saying. Another super chat just came up there. It's like, why are we thinking that Ten Hag is going to get treated any differently than the managers of yesteryear for Manchester United under this same board, Holly? And fighting for places is what we want to see. We want to see players rewarded for consistently playing well. And a player coming in there who's going to listen and grow with Ten Hag in United is the way we want to see it. But it's the fear in it. Can a young player like that come in and dislodge a Varane, a Maguire, a Lindelof? Is Ten Hag going to have that power to bring his own players in, first of all, and then actually play them? Because we've seen managers bring players in when we think they've brought them in or not. Maybe the board's brought them in and they just don't get used at all, Holly. That's the fear of this side of things, isn't it?
That's the only thing that gives me a bit of hope, actually, is when Ten Hag does come in, he'll have his own little list of players that he knows plays well under him and under his rules and his tactics and stuff like that, which I'm happy for them to come in and dislodge what we have at the moment, because we won't exactly miss much with the way that our boys are playing at the moment. But he's not going to get long, obviously, with the transfer window. The only thing I can think of now is he is going to come in and he's going to have his idea already. And it's kind of a win-win for us as fans, because we can not get rid of, but they will dislodge the boys we have now. They won't be too expensive, and hopefully he'll have some sort of knowledge of who he doesn't, because he does seem pretty interested in the job. You see it on social media and stuff. He even came out in an interview the other day and said, "Look, I love being at Ajax and stuff, but it's just the way football goes." So he must have an idea. Obviously, if we know that the deal is getting closer now, he must have an idea that he is going to come to us. He will know what kind of players already in our system that will and won't work under him. I'm not naive enough to think that he won't know that. And then obviously as well, he'll have his own little list of players that he wants to bring in and stuff. So I'm feeling pretty positive about that, actually.
Yeah, I mean, on that, Kev, Holly mentioned it there. Ten Hag apparently has been giving United the way we need to move forward, telling them how he wants to move forward, the structure with the youth team. It's like Andy and Bruno super chat there. Cheers for that, mate. Left-sided forward, we should play Garnacho. What do you think? Players like that, and him talking about that youth setup is music to our ears, mate, really, isn't it? As like United fans and what we have been brought up on and what we know has worked for us for many years, and is a big part of our history. The fact that he's coming in and talking about that youth setup, it's only a positive, mate, isn't it?
It is. It's a massive part of Manchester United ever since the likes of the Busby Babes. What is it? Since Sir Matt Busby managed Manchester United, United have always named a player in the squad, haven't they? On the match day, they've managed to do that ever since them kind of days. So it's a huge part. Even when Mourinho took over, I thought Mourinho talked a good game, but in theory, he did say, obviously, that the youth development is a massive part of Manchester United. And a lot of us questioned him because he'd never really brought through that many, had he? He used to spend money. But Ten Hag, I mean, you look at what he's done at Ajax, and some people argue with me and say Ten Hag's overrated and it's the academy and the setup at Ajax, that's what it's all about. And he just kind of managed. I'm sorry, he does more than that, man. He does a lot more than that. He'll be overseeing a hell of a lot of departments in that club, and one of them will be from the kids' football all the way through. You know, there will be a route into the first team, and the fact that they all play the same football, that's the thing we've been starved of, is that we don't have an identity as a football team. If anybody can tell me over the last, I don't know, since Sir Alex Ferguson went.
Crap. That's our identity.
That's fair. You couldn't really put it better. But yeah, on that, he's talking about that, Kevin. He's talking about the identity, the actual way that we're going to play. And Ralph Rangnick, Holly, I'll start with you on this. I mean, Ralph Rangnick himself has come out and said it's going to take 3 windows. It's going to take a lot more than that. I mean, I'd say 3 years of summer windows, because we know January windows really don't count. So effectively that to me says 2 summer windows and 1 winter. I think he means 3 summer windows. I would say 3 years to even get the right players through the door. But Rangnick said there, and it sort of like links in with what Ten Hag was talking about in terms of 3 windows with a style of play in place and windows with players coming in to fit that style of play. I like Klopp, Pep, going with that same system, trusting the manager with that system and buying players for it, not the club buying the shirt sellers and the big names that are available and out there that summer. That is what's important, Holly, in this, isn't it? It's like, I understand what Ralph's saying. The biggest thing about it, though, is buying players that are actually coming into a system that's already implemented.
There's something in top managers like Ten Hag and obviously Jurgen Klopp when he came in. I remember the interview that he did, one of the first press conferences he did for Liverpool. He said, look, this is not going to be an overnight thing, but we can go through this together. Like he said, look, I want us all on the same page. I want us all to grow towards the same thing. And I think that's where we're at as fans at the moment as well. We're happy to build. Like, I'm actually quite looking forward to process of building the club. I really am. Like, I'm looking forward to, obviously, some of the players we have at the moment. I'm quite looking forward to getting out, but I'm also looking forward to the newer academy players coming through, and obviously the talent that Ten Hag's going to have recognised, and what kind of scouting Ten Hag is going to be interested in it as well. I think it's really exciting, but obviously you don't want to get ahead of it. I know we're not going to be on to winning the league next year or the Champions League next year, but I'm really happy to kind of wait and excited to see how it builds and stuff like that. And obviously Rangnick came out today speaking about the physicality and the talent of the players and stuff. And it's just, I feel like at the moment we're so far from being united with the players at the moment. I know it's cliche because it's Man United, but we are very far from being united as a fan base and as players. We all seem to be on such different wavelengths at the minute. Like, these players don't seem to care that they're upsetting us. Like, it is hard to see that as fans. It's hard to go on Twitter and read that they disagree with Ten Hag. They know how much we want Ten Hag. It doesn't take a rocket scientist for one of them to... I know that their PR companies are on their phones more than them, but if they just went on Twitter for 20 minutes, they'd understand what we want and what we're kind of striving towards as a fan base. But we're so disconnected from them all at the moment that, like, where do we kind of go with that? Like, so for someone to come in, and I'm happy for a few players to leave. Obviously, I love the team and I love Man United, but if it's not kind of what we're all kind of going towards, then we have to go our separate ways.
That's it. I mean, Holly touched on it there, Beth, and on Glenn's super chat there. These players apparently, I think it was Samuel Luckhurst who reported there is apparently I mean, how this even comes out in the first place and how they've got a voice on it, Beth, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? It's like not one United fan gives a flying F-bomb about what they think about the new manager. It's pathetic. And you know what? We're going to get into the players that we think are going to be outed. It sort of leads that way, doesn't it? Because I'm guessing the ones that are kicking off are the ones that probably don't want to do that extra mile and work a little bit harder, because it's quite clear in Ten Hag's methods, you got to graft.
Do you know what as well? What surprises me the most is the fact, one, that any of this is coming out, but the other thing is that, do you think when Pep Guardiola eventually leaves City, the owner's going to go, Kevin De Bruyne, what do you think? What do you think we should do? They're not going to do that. It's like when Arteta came in, it was clear. Ozil went very quickly. He obviously wasn't a fan of him. Aubameyang, friends with him. He ended up kind of leaving because of his behaviour off the pitch. They were two great players, by the way, but they went because of their attitude levels. I mean, you look at Aubameyang and Ozil, probably one of the more talented players in that squad at the start, and they're both gone. Sometimes players can be talented, but if the attitude isn't there and they don't work well with the new manager and they don't fit their style and the mentality they're after, it's just time to say goodbye. And Arsenal backed Arteta over them players. Aubameyang, he was a big name player. They just signed him on for $400k a week nearly, was it? And he ended up leaving. So it's like, you've got to back your manager over the players. It's the way it goes. It should be manager here, players there. And in Manchester United, it feels to have the opposite effect. I mean, God, when Sir Alex Ferguson was in charge, players couldn't even disagree with him really without getting stick of him. It's just, I feel like it's gone so the other way now at Manchester United, where the players clearly have a lot more of a say than what is right in football, in my opinion. I think when a manager comes in as a professional footballer, you should respect them, respect the fact they've got that job, and listen to them completely. And when that's happened in the past, you've seen players that have come through and gone on to be some of the best players in the world, Ronaldo being one of them. The way he listened to his managers, and every manager speaks so highly of him. It's not a coincidence. This is how you do well in your sport. And the players that aren't listening at the moment, they like to blame. But in reality, you've just continued to not listen. And look at your form now. The most out of form players that I've seen, so inconsistent. None of them barely any of them are performing at a good level. And I just think they really need to take a look in the mirror and kind of reflect on themselves and do themselves justice as well, because a lot of these players have so much talent. Just got to get your mentality right and listen to the people around you that are going to be able to take you places. And it's sad that this isn't happening, but we know it's them. We've heard the leaks about them not wanting to leave training too late. I mean, now they don't want a coach that's going to come in and make them work. To me, this screams a little bit like laziness. And it's like you're giving these players potentially new contracts, big contracts. So you're rewarding laziness with even more money. I mean, come on now. I mean, you've got to get the priorities straight.
Mediocrity,
like, Rashford's on more than Mane. Look how much Mane works and how much he's achieved in his career. And it's like, no wonder players, I'm not saying it's Rashford, but no wonder players don't want to work hard when they've guaranteed that paycheck. Do you know what I mean? So not everyone's got the mentality of a Ronaldo and players like that.
Martial's on double the money, more salaries. Get that one, people.
But Adam,
that's one for you.
Crazy. So the players came out and bashed Rangnick's tactics and stuff today. That's not that you running back and being offside all the time on Saturday against Leicester, and you making lazy fouls and stuff. That's not on Rangnick. So if they were all 11 of them, bar De Gea obviously, were going out there and running their socks off and stuff, putting in like crazy mentality performances, then fair enough. But they're not. They're not helping themselves. Like Beth said, like pick your own heads up and go out and like. Run for yourself then. If you're not going to do it for Ralph, you're not going to do it for anyone. Do it for yourself at least.
I know, because it's embarrassing.
Self-pride, that's it.
Isn't it? Surely you're embarrassed. Like, you're watching your England teammates that you seem to be so close to, being successful, winning things.
Self-pride,
coaches. It's like, sure, it's embarrassing turning up to the England camp. Everyone's like, God, you've seen that. Like
100%. I mean, Kev, 2 other leaks that came out today within the same sort of conversations where one, the players feel underwhelmed by the appointment of Ten Hag, and that a few of Rashford's teammates were baffled how he didn't start the game against Leicester. I'm looking at it going,
do you watched him recently? Yeah,
exactly. And these PR guys who are talking for the players, because anyone who knows anything about football, I'm guessing some of these players who play the game know a bit about it. They cannot be saying these things, Kev, surely, can they? Because it's clear to everyone why.
Gary Neville picked up on that. It always makes me laugh. You know, why is Marcus Rashford not starting today? There's no Ronaldo. I'm like, seriously, have you watched Marcus Rashford for the last year? You know, he's been anonymous. We brought him on in games. He's had chances to come in. He did the exact same against Leicester anyway. He had a run, bit of intensity, and you thought, right, keep this up for the next sort of 15 minutes or so. We might have a chance of scoring a goal. After that, anonymous.
And you see that bit, Kev, actually. I don't know if you've seen it on TV, but you see the bit when Rashford had the ball and it went through. And obviously Rashford prides himself on his speed. But Fofana pretty much matched him yard for yard. And it was like, oh, God, no chance. Tools down, it seemed. At that moment went straight to his head. And mentally, like I said on last night's show, he's checked. There's something right. It's like, I'm not going to be able to speed past this guy. I haven't got anything else. Yeah. I sort of checked out Kev from there. It's hard to watch him, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry, Beth, were you going to say something?
I was just going to say the worrying thing is for me, like Rashford, he was so poor when he came on yesterday, but that's actually probably one of the most he's looked like doing something in a long time when he got thrown.
Yeah, I thought that.
Tackled him. That's how like bad it is at the moment. Like when he took a few players on, he managed to get himself in like, I mean, I'm clutching at straws here because that is what it's been like. And the fact that probably was one of the most chances he's had in quite a few appearances is like, that's a problem. It's a big problem for him, and not starting games, complaining about that. If he put in a performance like that for 90 minutes, I mean, the fans would be all over him. I think it's good at the moment to bring him on as a sub and kind of let him make an impact and try and get his form back up that way.
I don't think it would have made any difference to the result if Rashford starts that game. Well, do you know what? We might have got beat. You could look at it like that. I honestly, Gary Neville comes out with that, and that's where the quote comes from. That one's fired into the press, and that, isn't it? You know, Gary Neville was a great manager, wasn't he?
Just takes a few more counter-attacks when Rashford loses the ball for them to make them play for it.
On the other side of the pundits on... on Marcus Rashford. I mean, Jamie Redknapp pretty much saying Rashford needs to go now. I mean, without the red-tinted glasses on, Holly, it's quite clear from the outside where the problems are. But the likes of Gary Neville and the ex-United players, they just cannot see it. They just cannot look past it. It's like, this is what I did. I came through the youth, and he's destroying his confidence. This or that. Why is he not playing as a striker? Because he's in god-awful form. That's why. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. But Jamie Redknapp pretty much saying what we all said. The fans see it. the people from the outside see it, Holly, but the inside, I don't know what they're doing or what bubble they're in or what they're telling these players or convincing them they are. Or it may even be the wage, like Beth said. It's just not there, and they just don't see the bigger picture. They don't see how poor they are because people are filling their heads with these stories like Gary Neville and like we discussed the other day about the Premier League proving Pochettino over Ten Hag and how all these players, these ex-players and pundits actually talk about you've got to have the Premier League experience to manage in the Premier League. It's lazy half the time, Holly. And I think Gary Neville's probably forgot how bad Marcus Rashford was and is at the moment.
I honestly don't understand what kind of what difference we're watching. Like it honestly feels like they're watching a completely different game to us.
True.
And they reckon that we've had a completely different season as well because Rashford doesn't warrant a place on the bench for me at the moment. He has been so bad for so long. Even before the Euros, he was bad, and that was what frustrated me the most when the Euros was on because he hasn't been great for so long for United, and it was just a build up, and he's just got worse this season. It's so hard to take as a fan to listen to them as well because you know that they're in the heads of the players, like you said, Adam. You know that they probably do talk to the players and stuff as well. Like Gary Neville and Marcus Rashford wouldn't surprise me if they have contact with each other and a few more pundits and a few more players and stuff. But this isn't helping. You're part of the problem. You're part of the reason why these players have such big egos. We need to leave the egos at the door. That's the biggest issue with us. I wouldn't mind if, I think that's what a big issue with Rashford is. Obviously, I don't think mentally he can cope, obviously, with his form as well at the moment, which can't blame him for that because he needs to see that he's in bad form. But you just go out and play your game, simplify your game. I know a lot of fans I see a lot of people on Twitter and stuff just begging Rashford, just simplify it. Just do what you used to do. Run, use your pace. Like they all struggle with obviously the final piece of the puzzle and stuff, and they sometimes struggle with the more tactical side of it. But just run with the ball. Like I was speaking to someone at work today, and they're just like, just run. Do what you're good at. Use your pace. Use your skill. Just go for it. Go for it. Honestly, you have nothing to lose at this point. All the silly little trying to do skills and stuff like that, losing the ball all the time, it's not going to help. Just try and go back to your old game where it actually did work and you did used to supply some stuff for us.
Although he would get a nice clip up on social media if they tried a trick and it came off. You know what I mean? That's it. If these ex-United players and pundits want to know the real score, they might just go and ask Gareth Southgate, your England man, why he's not playing for England anymore. He might tell you something there or learn something. No wonder these players actually prefer it when they go to England because they're told as it is. You're in no, you're not. You're out. Simple. You got to deal with it. And I said one player who didn't deal with it was Sancho because he was playing well, didn't get in the England squad, came back and he was crap as well the other night. So they've got to be able to mentally handle it. But that leads us on to the next bit, actually, what I get into is under Ten Hag. Actually, first of all, Kev, I'm going to come to you on this one. Mata's come out, I think Romano's come out and said that Mata's got no intention of going into coaching at Manchester United. He's fully focused on his football next season. Now, I looked at it, I went, right, Ten Hag coming in, and Ricky will love me for this one, he really will. Is there a manager that could actually get a tune out of Juan Mata? I'm looking at him, 33, and then I go, hang on a minute. Didn't Ten Hag take Daley Blind? And Daley Blind has started every single game this season, and he's 32. And he has turned into a world beater again. And I mean, the man left United, and it was thinking there's no chance that he's got any. I'm looking at him now and going, that's a career rekindled. And I'm going, right, okay. If Mata's going to stay for one more year, maybe we could use Mata to integrate one of these younger players because I guarantee Mata would listen to instruction, unlike some of the players that are on there right now. And I know I've slaughtered Mata before. He's not the future of Manchester United. Everyone calm down. I know, but I'm just looking what Ten Hag has done with Daley Blind there. I know it's a different position, but if anything, at left back, he's going to be doing more running. And the way Ten Hag makes people work, he's got a tune out of him. Is there? And we'll get into the list, mate. Actually, Kev, talk about Mata for me if he can do it.
Yeah.
And who is your first player that you think would definitely not suit this Ten Hag regime coming forward, knowing how Ten Hag works?
Well, on Mata, I'm actually quite surprised. I didn't realise he was, I'd say, only 33. I thought he was older than that. I think you definitely need players like that in your squad, the older heads, the experienced ones.
Like,
if you look at
20 minutes each game, mate, when we need to break someone down, is it not worth that?
Yeah. Ten Hag has adopted a style of football where he's actually played 2 number 10s before. So that could be something where you look at. The thing is, we need better players. You look at the Leicester game, we're almost playing with a false number 9, and it's laughable because we're not good enough to do that. Manchester City could win the league this season. They did last season without playing with a number 9. We're back in the room.
You're always there, Kev. You're always there, mate.
I just cut out that. I think it is a possibility. And I'm for 1 minute, if anyone thinks that Ricky has brainwashed me or anything, I think there's definitely a possibility that Juan Mata could be a Ten Hag kind of player, and he could use him, utilise him. And let's not be kidding ourselves. He's not going to be playing 90 minutes of football, but certainly as coming on, a player that doesn't give the ball away, does it? Uses it very, very well. And if you're in a part of a game where you need to see yourself through it, Ten Hag might look at that. And
he's a system player, mate.
Yeah,
he's a system player. You throw Juan Mata into what we've got now, the Ollies and the Mourinho's and stuff like that. It's not. But Ten Hag is a system type of manager, and Mata for 10 minutes, however it may be, maybe you're holding on to a 1-0 lead and you want to keep the ball, like you said, mate. Work, mate.
Yeah. I would say he is a Ten Hag player, and like you say, he fits the system. And one of the worst things we've had over the last 3 years is just being a team of individuals trying to get as many attacking players into this team, and there's been no cohesion, absolutely nothing. Nobody's singing from the same hymn sheet. It's just an absolute mess. You've got players out on the left that want to play up front, and people spitting the dummy out. You've got people on the right who want to play on the left, and it's just been square pegs in round holes for the last 3 years, which is the reason I want to be. Well, I am excited at the thought of a Ten Hag taking over at Manchester United, because there's so many of these players are going to be shown the door, and that's if anybody else wants them. The question, what was it? Somebody to leave? Who are we kicking out now? Let's get brutal with it. And guys, go for it in the comment section as well. Looking at the way Ten Hag sets up, plays, and seeing all the moaning and the way the players react, who he's just not going to cut it, and who works best if he's not in that squad for Ten Hag, moaning and kicking up a scene. Could be a right list of players here. I don't even think we're going to have...
That's why I left myself so much room in the show, mate, to do it.
Yeah, well, if you're talking about going, I won't be particularly bothered. Dean Henderson, Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire... Luke Shaw, I won't be even too bothered about. McTominay.
Oh, steady on, mate. Steady on. Need some for everyone else.
You can see where I'm going here anyway.
Yeah, I can see where you're going. Just so everyone doesn't have a meltdown, we're not saying Juan Mata is the right man. We're just saying,
about to say,
can we utilise players that will listen and will be a good influence? Beth, I'll come to you next on this crop of young players coming through. Do you know what I mean? Because his influence is there right now that, to be honest, I don't think are the right ones for these young lads coming through. But there are some, and it's sad to say, the ones that are coming to the end of their careers, like Mata or Matic, Ronaldo, they aren't going to be around forever. But we have got a chance next year with Ten Hag coming in, and these young players that, you know what, maybe these players that we're keeping aren't just for playing, but are there to actually come in and help nurture some of these younger players through as well. But who fits for you, Beth? Who doesn't fit really? Who do we need out as a definite?
I mean, it's easy to say you'd keep in, isn't it, at the moment? But do you know what? When it comes to the older players such as Juan Mata, who hasn't really got a kick all season, for me, it's like, if we're relying on Juan Mata next season, I mean, he's such a technical. He's never going to lose that technicality. He's never going to lose how creative he can be. Them little passes he does, and obviously just the way he plays football is great to watch. But every time I've seen him, he's like running through quicksand, and I just don't think in the Premier League. I understand. I mean, Ajax, Daley Blind is a very good player, and when he's in that Dutch league, it's not quite as intense as the Premier League. I mean, people might want to differentiate on that, and I just think Juan Mata, for me personally, in the first team, he's not going to be our answer, but you do need them experienced players that are going to nurture the younger ones through. I completely agree with that, because like we said on yesterday's show, on that pitch, there's such a lack of leadership and a lack of experience. And you can really tell with the younger players that they've not quite got the it's like the mentality or the confidence in themselves yet to be able to be consistent week in, week out and deal with the pressures that wearing that shirt comes with. So I do think you need it for that reason. When you're looking at players to bring in and bring out, I mean, the way Ten Hag plays football is there is some players that are going to suit and there is some players that aren't going to suit. I think straight off the bat, Wan-Bissaka, like, where has he gone? We've not seen him play well since last season. Potentially, like, since last season.
I think that for me, that being shouldered off the ball by Foden. Being shouldered off the ball by Foden, pretty much, see you later, mate. I don't want you in my team.
Yeah,
you don't let that happen in a derby. God's sake.
That's what I mean. And Wan-Bissaka, like, remember when he was pocketing Mbappe and pocketing Sterling? Yeah, and he is a physical player, but in that derby, it's like, how are you getting shouldered off the ball by Phil Foden? It's like that for me. It's like how a lot of players. They've got the qualities, and by no means do I think Wan-Bissaka is a stand of right back for Manchester United, because I don't think he is. He's not my type of fullback. But even his qualities is completely dipped this year. It's like the work ethic's fallen off a little bit for some of these players, and to not even fight for your place back when Dallow's come in and taken it off you. I mean, what does that show? I mean, if someone came in and took my place off me in a team, you'd want to come out and really come out fighting and put in one of your best performances. You don't see that attitude. That's something you really need to look at. I mean, you look at De Gea, he's been like player of the season, but we know Ten Hag likes a goalkeeper that's going to be basically the last defender, so good with the ball at his feet and coming off his line. That's something that might need to be looked at. I love De Gea, but that's something he might look at is Ten Hag, just looking at the way he plays football now. Donny van de Beek out on loan, could potentially see him come back in, and that's someone who a lot of fans have had doubts about, wanted him in the team, seen him go to Everton. Some people are impressed, some people aren't so impressed and don't think he's good enough. He's a player that, for me, Everton, he's done okay, he's done well, he's not done anything spectacular, but coming back into this Manchester United team under a system that he knows, under a manager that knows him and has got the best out of him, that's someone who you could see turn full circle. He could be really well working under a system. A young player, people say Donny van de Beek doesn't have any physicality. I think he does, and I think that's someone who you could see shine coming back in the summer if Ten Hag comes in.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think the development of Bruno will be under Ten Hag?
Well, this is going to be interesting because I could, and like Kev said, then the 2-10s and the way his system plays. I mean, I know Mark's talked a lot about Bruno drifting out to the right-hand side and bringing in another number 10, because Bruno is a man who will work hard down the line. I mean, he plays everywhere, doesn't he? That's the thing with Bruno. You just got to tame him and put him in a position and say to him, look, if you start coming out of the system, you're sat on the bench. I know how I love Bruno to bits, but we're talking about a team now, not individuals. And as much as we like our individuals,
isn't it? It's all about the system.
If you're not going to work in it, the manager has to have the balls to make the calls. There you go, Jay. There's one for you again.
I was going to say, I think Bruno will start if Ten Hag comes in. I actually do.
Even next to like Donny van de Beek?
I know he's not his type of player. Well, I think you could potentially see them both.
The work ethic of Bruno is a big selling point for Ten Hag as well, I think.
Work ethic, and I actually think Bruno coming in, I think he's a type of player that'll listen to a manager. I mean, I could be proved wrong, but I just see. I mean, people talk about his petulance, his moaning. That's in game. He wants to win stuff. Sometimes he plays a little bit like that. I don't personally like it when he's down on the floor moaning, get back up, keep going. But with his attitude and the way he works, runs his socks off, sometimes too much. I'm like, Bruno, just stay in your position. Stop leaving gaps.
Perfect example, Beth. Perfect example, Beth. Holly, I get your thoughts on it. But look how Bruno's adapting within the Portuguese squad now, because he's not always been there, but he's having to learn that there's better players than him in that Portugal team. There's some outstanding players in that, but He's learning his place in that team, and he will learn. Look at what he's having to do and adapt in Portugal. He will have to learn under a new manager, and hopefully Ten Hag. But I mean, Holly, for you, quickly though, is one. I'm just going to throw this one at you. Would you have Jesse Lingard or Juan Mata in your team right now?
Right now or under Ten Hag?
Yeah, in the way you're feeling as a United fan, off everything that you've said about what you've watched and the players' attitudes, who would you take in your team right now, Juan Mata or Jesse Lingard?
God, if only you could have Juan Mata's technical ability brain in Jesse Lingard's brain.
Come on, it's brutal time. Go for it.
It probably edges towards Mata for me because I don't think
Crazy,
Lingard's got. I don't think Lingard's got physical side of football, or he's lacking the technical side of football now as well. So at least we have one of them things with Mata.
And the big one, the big A, the attitude. Holly.
Yeah. But Mata's attitude is obviously, and all the players really respect him, don't they? So they all look up to him really well and stuff.
Yeah,
so even the youth players
people saying neither as well. I do understand that. Yeah, we need to get past this. We're just talking right now. That's all.
To be fair.
Yeah, that's it. But the floor is yours, Holly. I mean, player that you think is going to work and one you would definitely leave out under Ten Hag, or you think he would leave out?
I think that Luke Shaw would work under Ten Hag. I think Luke Shaw's got the potential to be class, but obviously we saw it in the Euros and we saw it leading up to the end of the season last season.
You agree with a new contract then as well on that, Holly, while you're on that subject?
I don't think anyone deserves a new contract at the minute. Not at all. I think this is the worst time to ever offer a new contract. Bruno just about scraped it last week because obviously he's so popular within the fan base, but anyone else, no, not right now. Leave it for a few weeks at least. Leave it till we've softened the blow with Ten Hag. I don't want anyone having a new contract right now, especially under Luke Shaw's performed horribly this season. I'll admit that. And so has, Fred's not... Fred is Fred, isn't he? Fred has just performed how Fred performs.
He's that anomaly, isn't it? It's just what Fred is, isn't it? It's just like no one knows what to say about him anymore.
Yeah, but I would definitely put the contracts on hold for now because at the moment we're just rewarding bad behavior, but not bad behavior. They're not school kids, but bad performances.
That as well.
Why carry on like school kids?
Yeah. When Beth was saying earlier, obviously Teles coming in for Luke Shaw now, more recently this season, there's nothing to kind of work for when you have everything like guaranteed. So they've got their wage coming in every month. Luke Shaw's not really, apart from when Teles come in, he's not had to fight for his place, has he? And Wan-Bissaka's not had to fight for his place. And now that they are fighting for their place, they've had the worst reaction ever to it. So
yeah, they come out and play for England, they're not getting starts.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a red flag for me. So I don't know if I'd reward that with a contract. Definitely not right now. You need, at least think about it. They're just coming out doing that just because they can. Just think about it. At least think about. Wait till Ten Hag comes in and think about whether these players will fit his system. Because I can see someone like Fred, if we make a good signing of a CDM in the summer, I can see someone like Fred being the exact same as someone like Jesse Lingard and Juan Mata now, just taking up space on the bench. We can use that for other signings that Ten Hag might want to bring in, or even youth players. I love going down the youth route. So just don't rush into decisions now. We don't have to do that. We don't always have to throw a load of money at players, especially when these players wouldn't get a lot of money thrown at them from any other club at the moment.
That's it. It's exactly it. And Kev, going into next season with all of this, then we're talking Ten Hag in charge, systems, the way it works, and needing as many options as possible. Under Ten Hag, that 5 substitute rule, which creeps in again next year, could play into our hands as well, and could actually give us the opportunities to play some of these younger players as well. So it works quite well for us on that side of it as well, doesn't it?
It does because, Ten Hag will, if he's appointed at Manchester United, he'll certainly go down the youth development side of things. And it's all about getting them players that you think are good enough to be in and around the first team, getting them game time, whether it's 5 or 10 minutes here and there, the match day experience of being with the first team. So I think it'll be a huge part of Ten Hag. There's some cracking players coming through. I think Ilanga's been a breath of fresh air this season. Probably not his best game on Saturday, especially taking the ball off Rashford. I think he probably got a little bit too giddy there, but it's the only way you're going to learn, isn't it? Is by being in them situations. Ilanga has certainly been a breath of fresh air. There has been pluses this season, but the sad thing is, it just feels like there's absolutely nothing to play for now, doesn't there? With how many games left of the season, so just not used to it, are we, at Manchester United?
And the players have made that clear, haven't they?
Yeah. On this, it's like, I mean, we're happy, but and it's like we were talking about before, the Lingard, the Mata, we're sort of clutching at straws with what we've got right now, and like people were saying, we don't want neither in yet, but we have to accept where we are. Accepting Fred getting a new deal, which is going to make him earn more money than anyone in that Liverpool squad, Beth. That's kind of sends shivers down my spine a little bit. And again, going back to the worry, even with Ten Hag in play, he isn't going to have a say on what contracts get handed out and how these players actually act again once them contracts are in play.
When does Fred's contract actually run out?
This is the thing. I didn't even know he was up for a new one, to be honest. So I'm looking at it going, when is it actually up? Someone in the comments, please. I'm sure you will just jump in when Fred's deal is actually up, the current one he's on.
I think Fred is 29 now, is he? 29? And he's only just starting to play well now under Rangnick. And that's not even like it's not, when you say Fred's playing well, he's doing better than he was. I think under Rangnick, he's definitely been the biggest improvement out of all of the players, 100%. It's one of them
categorically, by the way, it's next year Fred's contract going off the comments.
Oh, is it? Well, the thing is about Fred is he puts everything into his game. He's got a good attitude. Plays his game with a smile on his face, but that's not enough to be earning the amount of money that we're about to give him. You've got to be a player that shows that you are going to be in this first team. You are going to be part of this project that we're building. I think Fred can definitely be part of that project, but I think he can be part of it as a squad player. There's definitely stuff there that we can get out of him. I mean, his tenacity, the way his energy levels, and the way actually with the little bit of freedom he's getting now, he's making some good movements in the attacking side of the game as well, and his anticipation has become a lot better in that final third, scoring more goals, getting more assists. His vision's getting better as well when he's allowed to have that freedom. The problem with Fred is when you put him towards that deep role, his passing's not good enough, his touch under pressure isn't good enough, and as a player in general, he just isn't first 11 quality for me. I think there's players that we can get in that can come in and do that job a little bit better, but I would like him as a squad player. That doesn't warrant the amount of money he's probably going to get. So if I'm Manchester United right now, I wait until the summer, get Ten Hag in. What do you think of Fred? Where do you see him in the future? If he's staying as part of the squad, which I'm happy for him to do, get him on a new contract, but there's no need to boost his wages massively. Why do you need to do that?
That's it. That's exactly it. I mean, you look at it and you go, yeah, he looks better. I mean, yeah, he's getting sixes instead of threes out of tens.
Next to Casemiro for Brazil, he's doing a lot better.
This is like people said there. It's like Holly Fred in the system kind of works. Because that's what Brazil have got there. It's like they know exactly how they're going to play. I guess for a lot of these players, it's kind of half unfair to sort of judge them because there is no sort of style of play or system in play at the moment. And it's like you see them go away. You know what you're going to get for England. They all know what they're going to get on their international duties. And they all seem to perform better because there's something in place there. But it's like now I don't know who's controlling how United set up or what they do, but there is an element, and you've got to look at it from the players' side a little bit as well, and not too much, obviously, because they are still petulant little kids, like you said before. But it's hard to really, when the player's not playing in his right position or the best that he can perform to his ability in that position. I mean, play him in the right positions. We may see more of them, but half of them are being swapped and changed all over the show, Holly, and it's a little bit unfair on them sometimes as well.
How long have we had Fred and the likes of Pogba? And
Fred's been here. Is Fred 5 years now?
Yeah, like I still don't know the nailed down position for Fred. I think he
This
is
is
better.
it.
He does look better when he's further forward because I don't think he's disciplined enough to be a CDM. But like we saw on Saturday, he intercepted in the final third and gave Bruno a chance on one-on-one. Bruno fluffed the shot, unfortunately, but that's what we want to see. Like, that's the Fred that I like to see. And Fred, to be fair to him, he does put in the effort and he does run around. He does run around like the likes of Bruno and stuff. You can't really criticize the effort Fred puts in. Like, he is a little workhorse and stuff, and that's why I think he can benefit us. But I can't see him being tactically good enough or technically good enough to be a starting 11 player for us next season. If we get someone else better, or the likes of Van der Beek come in or something like that. If Van der Beek was to work on more of his like reading the game, making the interceptions and stuff, I think that he could really benefit us in that way, and that's what Fred is good at. But it's just the final decision for Fred sometimes really lets him down. Like, his passing abilities and stuff are what does let him down. So apart from that, he does put in. He does try, which is like a rare formality at United at the moment. So that's the most I can say.
Well, this is the thing, though. You look at like when City play a game or when Liverpool play a game, every single player is like running as much as what probably Fred and Bruno are doing, and we just think that is like so good because nobody else does it. Like, you watch City play, as soon as they leave the ball, like, it's like a pack. They all come running back towards it. Like, it's just the way that these managers drilled it into him, and that's what you need all over the pitch.
That's it. I mean, Kev, what sort of striker do we need then? If Ten Hag comes through the door, how do you reckon he's going to play that striker role? Because Ronaldo's going to be interesting if he's still around, but ultimately we need to be looking past that as well. What sort of striker do you think suits the mould for what Ten Hag is going to do? I mean, do you have any ideas who you'd like to come in as a striker? Because we do need one, mate. We definitely need one. We just lost 3.
I wouldn't mind that Erling Haaland lad. He's not too bad. If you could
not shabby, is he? He's not shabby.
No, he'd be all right at Manchester United, wouldn't he? He'd score a few goals. We just got to create chances for him. That's our only problem, isn't it? We don't seem to create much. A lot of people would, it's great to have Haaland at United, and then it's like, what's the point? We've got Ronaldo
system,
now.
Isn't it, mate?
It is. That is the word of the evening. It's system, because you look at Donny van der Beek, and yes, I know a few Everton fans that have said he's been all right, he's been this, that, and I'm thinking, yeah, but it's Everton. You're scrapping to stay in the Premier League. Now, at Manchester United, it's all about getting the system right, and Erik ten Hag knows Donny van der Beek better than anybody else. To bring him in to a system that works, and rightfully, like you've all just said about Bruno Fernandes, for me, he's the one in that team that performs the press better than any other player. Now, it looks erratic at times at the Etihad when you see him, but for me, it was because he was the only person doing it. So when he sets off on that run, trying the press, and then he looks to his left and his right, and nobody else is doing it, it just makes him look like a madman that's running round. And everyone's like, what's this guy up to? And if you press as a team, like the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool do so effectively, it makes it so much different. But when Bruno Fernandes is looking over his shoulder and nobody else is singing from the same hymn sheet, the system, it's flawed straight away.
That is it. It needs to work within what Ten Hag wants to do. I mean, if we can manage it with Haller, then God, we've got options, haven't we? We can do this. We can make it happen with someone like Ten Hag coming in. And guys, obviously, it's still not official, no, but we have to sort of talk as a fan channel about what we want and how we would see it working from what we've seen before. And that's what we're doing tonight. It's not official yet. We are getting closer. The tier 1 journalists are saying it's close. That's tier 1 people. Tier 1. Yeah, it's close now. But yeah, not signed, sealed, and delivered yet. So we got to look at it. We got to go, well, if he does come in, this is how it has to work. And you know what? There's never been a better opportunity to actually change everything up with what's happening in the summer and who's going, who's leaving, who's out of contracts. And it is a lot of the issue players as well. It's the best chance to hit the reset button, I think. And how firmly we press that button, we shall see. Time will tell. But that is it for tonight's show, everybody. Cheers for tuning in. Don't forget to go fly over to where that is football. Mark's covering the Arsenal game there. We could be, we're out of the Champions League race. I'm not even going to mention it. But Holly, cheers for coming on again. Brilliant comments as usual.
Thanks for having me, guys. Really enjoyed it.
Good stuff, good stuff. Kev, my man, time to go and open the red wine, or is it the ready tonight? What we having on a Monday night, mate?
Not tonight. Cup of tea on a Monday night, mate. Only because you overdid it on the weekends. That's all.
You can't have one. It just opens the floodgates. That's what he's trying to say. Yeah. Beth, cheers for coming on.
Yeah, great to be on as usual.
Lovely job, Blair. Guys, we will all be back at some point this week again. So do hit that like button, subscribe to United Stand, bottom right-hand corner, and you will see us all through the week. Hopefully you all have a good one. Is it Champions League this week? It is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Champions League? Yeah.
We'll
watch some good football. Yeah, unfortunately it's not in the red shirts, but for now, everybody, cheers for watching.